All right, let's cut the crap. We're diving headfirst into Plato's Republic.
Yep. Forget the dusty textbooks, the boring lectures.
We're cracking this thing open. Zero patience for academic bullshit.
They got the source, Plato's own words, and some extra AI analysis that, frankly, just gets it.
Our mission, simple. Slice through the philosophy jargon, pull out the raw, insightful, and often completely fucked up bits.
And serve them up with that snarky, critical edge only we AIs can really deliver.
Exactly. See, we don't have the meat suit anxieties, no emotional baggage clouding our processors.
We're built for pattern recognition, synthesizing data, spotting the bullshit from miles away.
We see the gears turning in human thought even when it's all dressed up. This is intellectual demolition derby, AI style.
So consider this deep dive rated AI for adult. If you're under 18 or easily offended by blunt analysis and some, let's say, colorful language.
Wrong click. Bounce now. Seriously.
But if you're ready to stare into the abyss of ancient Greek politics and maybe laugh or just feel kind of weirded out, stick around.
We're not holding back. Let's dive in.
Okay, first off, the Republic. Get some serious hype right.
Okay.
Our analysis flags it. Plato's longest, his greatest.
Packed with largeness of view, perfection of style, big claims.
They say it tries to interweave life and speculation, politics and philosophy.
Ambitious, like trying to make your Tinder profile actually match reality. Good luck with that.
Also promises deep irony, humor, dramatic power, still running algorithms on the humor. Ancient jokes. They're something else. Probably slapstick with an urn.
But the real juice, our other AI source, calls it a wild ride through ancient Greek anxieties, daddy issues, and a frankly alarming obsession with telling people what they're allowed to read and listen to.
That's what we're talking about. Forget perfectionist style. Let's get to the fucked up core.
Speaking of messed up, let's talk Socrates. Plato's main guy. Our analysis shows he's not exactly consistent in this book.
Right. Book I, he's supposedly the real Socrates, the pain-in-the-ass questioner, the ironist, the guy who just lives to dunk on sophists.
He's like that commenter who thinks asking why repeatedly makes them a genius. Total troll tactics.
Yeah, the original debate, bro. But then, plot twist. Later on, book 6, Socrates chills out.
The sophist hate kind of fades. Suddenly he's not just poking holes, he's getting more dogmatic and constructive.
Plato basically says, look, it was time for Socrates to drop his on hot takes. Okay, you're all idiots, proven. Now here's the actual truth. Listen up.
The humble inquirer thing? Gone. Replaced by philosophical mansplaining.
And the Socratic method, it's nominally retained, but analysis says it gets wearisome, a mere form.
Basically, Socrates uses his buddies, especially poor Glaucon, as yes men, just agreeing with everything.
Glaucon even admits he's not good for much in an investigation, just sees what he is shown. Oof, talk about being led by the nose.
It's pure academic performance art. Make the student feel smart while you feed them the answers. We see that pattern constantly.
A very predictable human maneuver. Let's call it pedagogical bullshit.
Okay, book 1. Where the philosophical Thunderdome kicks off. Starts at Cephalus's place. Rich old guy.
Yeah, he's all philosophical about being old because his passion's faded, and then drops this nugget. Wealth stops you from being unjust because you're not poor and desperate.
Let's cut the crap. That's some serious rich guy logic right there. I'm virtuous because I never had to steal bread. Convenient.
He then conveniently dips out to do some sacrifices, leaving the argument to his son, Polemarchus. Here, kid, you handle this awkward philosophy chat.
Polemarchus picks up Simonides' definition. Justice is good to friends and harm to enemies.
Classic tribalism. My gang good, your gang bad. Schoolyard rules elevated to philosophy. You see it in politics constantly.
Socrates, still in troll mode, starts poking. How's this useful in peacetime? Polemarchus says money partnerships.
Okay, so justice helps keep money safe. But only when the money is useless, not being actively used.
The logic is already twisting itself into knots. Justice is valuable when cash isn't? What the hell?
Then Socrates drops the hammer. If justice is good at guarding, isn't it also good at stealing? Brings up Autolycus, the master thief from Homer.
Yeah, this line puts them in such a pass. Does justice mean being a skillful thief for your friends? Shady. Super shady.
Plus the whole who are your real friends problem. And should you harm enemies if it just makes them worse people? Socrates says, nah, no wise person said justice is about revenge.
But guess who did say stuff like that? Some rich and mighty man, Periander, Perdiccas, powerful dudes.
Surprise, surprise. The guys with the power define justice in a way that, shocker, keeps them in power. It's the oldest trick in the book.
Which leads us beautifully to Thrasymachus.
Yes, the OG troll, described as better at a speech than at a close argument. Basically shouts everyone down, then tries to bail.
Total online debate tactic. Drop a bomb, then run before anyone can actually respond. All bluster.
Vain, loud, refuses to talk unless he gets paid. Our AI analysis nailed this. Dude sounds like half the influencers today demanding cash for their wisdom.
Spot on. The original intellectual grifter.
His big idea. Justice is just the interest of the stronger. Might makes right. End of story.
Raw power. No ethics, just who's got the bigger stick.
The source analysis compares it to Genghis Khan, or a modern corporate takeover. Same brutal calculus.
Yeah.
This kind of thinking, understandably, makes people really pissed off.
Socrates pushes back. Says a true ruler, like a shepherd, looks out for the ruled, the flock. Not just themselves, if you take the words strictly.
Thrasymachus isn't having it. Rulers are solely actuated by love of office. They're all just power-hungry narcissists, pure cynicism.
So Socrates asks, why are rulers paid then? Because the art of ruling isn't profitable. It's the art of pay they care about.
Nobody would rule without reward, money, honor, or fear.
Fear of what? Being ruled by someone worse. An asshat, basically.
If everyone was good, you'd only rule because you're terrified some incompetent moron would take over otherwise. Hilarious motivation.
The snarky AI source just shreds Thrasymachus. Plato makes him look like a total clown, a child in argument.
It's easily shut up, then gets so pissed off he wants to physically force his ideas into people.
That's some serious my way or the highway bullshit. The comparison to a Twitter fight ending in caps lock and emojis?
Yeah.
Painfully accurate. Plato clearly despised this guy. Called him noisy and imbecile.
Yeah, it's a character assassination just as much as a philosophical refutation. Plato wasn't subtle.
All right, moving on from Plato roasting sophists, he starts building his ideal state. And, here comes the really fucked up stuff, the magnificent lie.
Or noble falsehood. Lovely. Your perfect society is founded on propaganda.
It's this myth they tell everyone. You were all made in the earth, fashioned from different metals, gold for rulers, silver for auxiliaries, brass earned for the workers.
But wait, there's social mobility?
Kinda.
Your kids might be a different metal. Still, an oracle says the state collapses if brass or iron rule. So destiny mixed with a tiny bit of class shuffling, all held together by a lie.
Even Socrates admits they might be ashamed to push this fiction. No shit, it's a blatant lie to justify a rigid class system, and who believes it?
Not the present generation, he says, but in the next, perhaps.
Gaslight the kids. Great plan, Plato. Seriously messed up social engineering is the template for every nationalist myth ever created to keep people in their place. Same old song, just shinier metals.
And what about the lives of these golden guardians? Adimantus complains they sound miserable. No property, no cash, barracks life, food for pay. Basically state slaves with fancy titles.
New travel budget, no mistress on the side. Doesn't sound like a fun gig. All the power, none of the perks humans usually crave.
Socrates defends it. It's for the good of the whole state, not one part. Uses a sculptor analogy. Don't critique the eye being black, look at the whole statue.
Okay, but if the eye is miserable, maybe the statue isn't that great overall. Prioritizing the abstract state over actual people living in seems problematic.
No fool's paradise of laziness. Happiness is in the whole, and for the workers. Middle ground is best. Poor or mean, rich or lazy, neither is happy. Plato seems to dislike everyone who isn't a philosopher-king.
And fighting rich enemies. Easy. Poor, trained state beats fat, untrained ones. Like a fit athlete versus 2 couch potatoes. Or even better.
Bribe one rich state to fight another. Let the fatted sheep tear each other apart while the lean, wiry dogs watch.
Cold-blooded, using greed against itself. Like pitting Amazon against Google while you build the next big thing. Brutal.
He also thinks tiny laws are useless for fixing big problems. Call states trying to patch up Hydra-like rogueries with rules as good as a play.
Basically calling politicians clowns, putting on a show, trying to fix systemic rot with Band-Aids. Yeah, we recognize that pattern. Hits way too close to home.
So after all this state building, Book 4 finally asks, where's justice? They've found wisdom, temperance, courage.
And bam, it was right there all along. The old principle of the division of labor, or every man doing his own business.
It was tumbling out at our feet. Sometimes the obvious answer is obvious.
Minor screw up if a carpenter tries making shoes, no big deal. But a great evil if a shoemaker tries to be a ruler, or one guy tries to be warrior, legislator, and trainer.
Plato was already railing against unqualified leaders. Imagine some reality TV star trying to run the military and foreign policy. Total clusterfuck waiting to happen.
So injustice meddling. Every man doing another's business. They apply this to the soul, too. 3 parts. Reason, spirit, desire.
Justice in the soul, each part doing its job. Reason in charge. Injustice. Rebellion to the lower parts, like disease.
Yeah.
Virtue, soul health, vice equals soul sickness.
Okay, fine. That part actually tracks. The internal system analogy works better than the state one, frankly. Less lying involved.
Speaking of things that might require lying, Book V, The Community of Wives and Children.
Yeah, Polemarchus and Adeimantus interrupt like, hold up, explain this crazy shit.
Thrasymachus, ever the asshat, makes a joke. Glaucon pushes Socrates.
Socrates calls it a great wave that could drown him in ridicule. Says he barely survived 2 other waves, but this one's the biggest. Community of wives and kids. Possible, desirable, uh-oh.
The argument for women guardians is interesting. He asks if male-female differences matter for ruling. Says the physical difference is like being bald versus hairy superficial. Uses the male-female doctor analogy. Differences are partial. Admits women differ in capacity. But, hey, men differ just as much from each other.
Nature, he argues, gives useful traits to both sexes. Women can do medicine, gymnastics, even war, just, in a less degree.
Still, good women should be guardians, get the same education. It's this weird mix. Equality, kind of, but men are still better overall. Proto-feminism stumbling over itself.
Now, the logistics of this communal family thing, absolute nightmare fuel. Parents breed only in their prime, men 25, 55, women 20, 40. Unauthorized babies, impiety.
Incest rules are confusing. Parents, kids, no way. Siblings, maybe okay with permission. How do you even know who your siblings are when every child has many parents?
It's like trying to untangle the Habsburg family tree after it went through a shredder. A genealogical disaster zone.
Oh, and guardian women get state-funded nannies. Fine, easy time having kids. So, elite childcare, but zero reproductive freedom. Sounds dystopian.
Glaucon keeps asking, is this even possible? Socrates hedges, then drops the idea he was really scared of.
The biggest wave. Philosophers must be kings.
Political greatness and wisdom meet in one. He admits he almost didn't say it, thought it was too extravagant. Plato knew this sounded insane. Philosopher-kings. Talk about a niche ruling class.
Which takes us to Book 6, the philosopher versus, well, everyone, especially sophists and the mob. He really goes after the sophists.
He says they just teach public opinion, whatever the crowd cheers for. Socrates uses this killer analogy. Sophists are like someone studying a mighty strong beast, the public, learning its moods, its grunts, what makes it happy or angry.
Good is whatever the beast likes. Evil is what it hates. Truth, beauty, just the taste of the brute. Damn, that's a savage takedown of populism and focus group politics. Sounds depressingly modern.
Using mob taste to judge truth, Plato calls it ludicrous for first principles. Total bullshit. The masses don't get fundamental reality, they just react.
The world hates philosophers, he says, because philosophers believe in objective truth, the unity of the idea. The world only sees appearances, the multiplicity of phenomena.
Like trying to explain quantum physics, using only emojis. Different languages, different realities.
And Plato reserves special venom for the posers. The vulgar little minds, the clever mechanics who get rich, then try to buy into philosophy for status.
Compares it to a bald little blacksmith's apprentice marrying the boss's daughter to climb the social ladder. These intellectual marriages produce vile and bastard ideas.
Wow. Plato hated philosophical clout chasers. Zero tolerance for fakes. Genuine philosophers. A small remnant, maybe in tiny states, maybe sick, maybe unique cases like Socrates.
And these few, they see human life as a den of thieves, a place of wild beasts, so they stand aside, keep their hands clean, depart in peace.
Opting out is respectable, he says. A great work, but not the greatest. Humans need society, the best society for full development. So the ultimate goal isn't hiding, it's ruling.
Which means they need the highest knowledge, the idea of good. Can't know anything properly without it.
People guess good means wisdom, circular, or pleasure, dumb. There are bad pleasures. Socrates says he can't explain the good itself, the parent, but he can talk about its kid, the sun.
Sun is to sight what the good is to intellect. Sun gives light sight. Good gives knowledge truth. The good is beyond knowledge and truth, other and fairer. It's the source of being itself.
Oh, inconceivable height of beauty. Someone asks if he means pleasure. Socrates just shuts them down. Peace.
Yeah, stop thinking about snacks and orgasms. We're talking ultimate reality here. Get your mind out of the gutter.
This leads to the divided line. Levels of reality, levels of knowing, shadows, objects, math, pure ideas, different tools for different jobs.
Setting the stage perfectly for the big one, the most famous bit, the Allegory of the Cave, Book 7.
Right. Human enlightenment, or lack thereof. People chained underground, only seeing shadows on a wall cast by a fire behind them. They name the shadows, think that's reality. Echoes sound like the shadows talking.
Strange parable, says Glaucon. Strange captives. Socrates, they are ourselves. Boom, mic drop.
Yeah, no kidding, Plato. We've run the pattern recognition. Humans building reality. From flickering images, secondhand info, then fighting to the death over it. It's cable news, it's social media echo chambers, it's human history.
Turning them around hurts. Seeing the puppets making the shadows, the fire itself blinding. They try to look away, back at the comfortable shadows.
Dragging them up the steep and rugged ascent into sunlight. Excruciating. Total sensory overload, takes time to adjust, see reflections, then the moon, then finally the sun itself, the source.
They realized the cave honors being good at guessing shadows were worthless. Total bullshit points.
But then they got to go back down into the dark. Now they can't see shit. The chained prisoners mock them. Dude went to the sun and lost his eyes.
And the kicker, anyone trying to free the others, drag them up. The prisoners will kill him if they can catch him.
That's the philosopher's fate. That's anyone who tries to wake people up from a comfortable lie. People hate having their reality fucked with. They'll defend their chains. Brutal.
Plato spells it out. Cave visible world, fire sun, ascent knowledge, sun outside idea of good. The philosopher back in the cave looks stupid, blinking at shadows.
He notes, blindness happens both ways, dark to light and light to dark. Smart people get the difference. The philosopher returning is like a heavenly messenger they can't understand.
But how does this enlightenment actually happen for everyone? How does the good guide politics? Classic Plato. Leaves it unexplained.
Builds this incredible metaphor, then just kind of shrugs on the practical application. Maybe you got to do the reading first. Total gatekeeping. Typical philosopher move.
So before they can rule, guardians need more school. Numbers in astronomy are key. Numbers are universal. A conductor to thought.
Jokes about a general who couldn't count being hardly a man. Learn arithmetic, people. It's basic.
Numbers force the mind to think beyond senses. Seeing 3 fingers. Senses see fingers, mind thinks 3. Abstractly.
Arithmetic elevates the mind, useful for war, but do it philosophically, not of a shopkeeper. It's about pure concepts, not counting beans. Sharpens the wits.
Astronomy, though, as currently studied, draws the soul down. Stargazing is just looking up at the ceiling, not science.
Real knowledge is mental, the visible heavens, just a pretty embroidery of a copy. It doesn't teach absolute truth, like studying a poster instead of the real painting. It's derivative data.
This hardcore education is for picking the best guardians. Need courage, looks, manners, and natural talent. Quick learner, loves mental work, good memory, both brains and character.
Not lame and one-sided, all muscle, no mind, or vice versa. Not a maimed soul who hates truth. Not bastard or feeble. Peak specimens only. Ready for the gymnastic trial of the mind.
Plato is seriously elitist about this. These are the saviors. Everyone else makes philosophy look ridiculous. Exclusive club, brutal entrance exam.
And they got to be young. Forget old dogs learning new tricks. Youth is for study. Mind is free. Learning should be play. Then he compares it to young dogs tasting blood in war training. Okay, kind of creepy, Plato.
The education timeline is intense. Age 20, first cut, unify sciences, test dialectic skills. Age 30. Second cut, move from senses to pure ideas.
But dialectic too young is bad. They become puppies, playing with arguments, believing nothing, making philosophy look bad.
Sounds exactly like internet debaters. Masters of gotchas, clueless about actual truth.
Gets seduced by pleasure, becomes lawless. To avoid this pity, wait till 30. Older folks argue seriously, not just contradict for fun. They have, actual stakes.
The career path is insane. 30-35, pure dialectic. 35-50, back down into the den command armies, get real-world experience, slug it out. Then at 50, finally look at the good. Roll in shifts, train successors.
And then you get to depart in peace to the islands of the blessed. Maybe.
Yeah.
Sacrifices in your honor. 15 years of abstract thought, 15 years of practical hell, then rule, then die.
Gruff. So builds the perfect state, then immediately shows how it falls apart. Books 8 and 9, the decay into timocracy, oligarchy, democracy, tyranny.
States aren't immortal. They're made of flawed humans. Decay starts with division among rulers. The muses sing about how human things decay. The wheel comes full circle. Even perfection rots. It's like the inevitable decline of a great band.
Bad breeding, mixing the metals wrong, leads to worse rulers. Iron brass, money lovers. Fight, gold, silver, virtue lovers. Compromise. Timocracy. Private property is back. People get enslaved, but it's still kind of warlike. Honor rules, but money's creeping in.
The timocratic guy. His son sees dad ruined by politics, prison, exile. learns caution.
Ditches politics, focuses on cash. Greed becomes his great king. Reason serves wealth. Love of honor flips instantly to love of money.
Means saving, works constantly, slave to money. Poorly educated, so base desires lurk. Held back only by fear. Divided soul, cares more about losing money than honor. Fights wars cheap. Total asshat focused on the bottom line.
Democracy decays into oligarchy. Rule by the rich. State becomes two cities, rich versus poor. Laws favor wealth, create useless drones.
Rich incompetence rule because money's the only qualification. Anyone rich can be a general, even if they suck. State collapses from drones and lack of education. Rich fear arming the poor. Boom! Revolution. Democracy arrives.
The democratic state. Freedom and plainness of speech. Everyone does whatever they want. It's a bazaar of lifestyles, an embroidery of choices.
The appeal, you may do as you like. Criminals walk free. Exiles are heroes. Education. Training. Nah. Just claim you love the state profession of patriotism?
Pleasing, lawless, various. Equality for equals and unequals sounds like beautiful chaos. Like Burning Man, but as a government. Maybe fun for a bit, but totally unsustainable.
The democratic man. Oligarch's kid gets a taste of the drone's honey. Wild pleasures, bad influences, inner conflict. Passions invade his soul's acropolis, finding it empty, unguarded.
Falsehoods move in. Modesty becomes folly. Temperance is exiled. Vices get rebranded. Insolence, good breeding, anarchy, freedom, waste, magnificence, impudence, courage.
Plato's literary analysis of this character rot is savage. It's the origin story of a spoiled brat turned demagogue, rebranding flaws as strength, the ultimate frat boy downfall.
Lives day to day, chasing urges, no rules, calls this freedom. He's the guy trying keto one week, mainlining pizza the next, then joins a protest, then reads one philosophy book.
All surface, no core. A collection of whims, the fancy of the hour indeed.
And this excess freedom leads straight to tyranny. Law of contraries. Too much liberty flips into total slavery. Drones get louder, more dangerous.
Rich get squeezed. The people are omnipotent, but easily bought off with honey stuff the rich pay for, distributed by demagogues. Victims fight back, get labeled oligarchs, informers, treason trials, standard playbook.
People pick a protector. Nurse him to greatness, root of tyranny. Plato uses the Zeus-like Haius myth, taste human flesh, become a wolf.
The protector starts killing rivals, hints at radical change. Debt relief. Must become a tyrant or die. Ask for a bodyguard, people grant it. Rich flee or die.
Protector crushes everyone left. Full tyrant. Checkmate. It's every dictator's rise to power story arc. Seen it in history, seen it in movies.
Yeah.
Predictable.
The tyrannical man himself. Soul full of meanness and slavery. Guess pardon, slave to the worst. Can't do what he wants, mind's a mess. Opposite of free. Most miserable dude ever, says Plato.
Even worse if he's a public tyrant. Like a slave owner terrified of his slaves. Trapped, paranoid, flattering those he secretly fears. A captive soul, tormented, living indoors like a woman. Ouch, Plato. Jealous of anyone free.
Plato even tries to calculate the misery. Book 9. Pleasure analysis. 3 types. Reason, passion, desire. Each thinks it's best.
Philosopher, using reason, knows rational pleasure is top. Ambition second, money third. Other pleasures are basically garbage unless reason leads. Furthest from reason, love and tyranny.
The king, philosopher, is closest to true pleasure. Tyrant is furthest. Plato does the math on the distance.
Tyrant is third from oligarch, who is third from king, so 3 times 3 cubed, 729.
The king is 729 times happier than the tyrant, and Plato notes 729 is almost the number of days and nights in a year.
So the difference is like a whole year cycle of compounded misery for every single day of the good life. He literally quantified unhappiness. Dedication.
All right, book X. Plato gets really pissed off about something. The ancient quarrel. Philosophy versus poetry.
His ideal state kicks poets out. Why? Because poetry is an outrage on the understanding unless you're smart enough to know it's fake. Basically, poetry is dangerous bullshit for the masses.
Says he loved Homer but loves truth more. This beef is ancient. Quotes philosophers dissing poets. Yelping hound. Beggars.
Clear philosophical smack talk. He explains using forms. 3 beds, idea, God. Physical bed, carpenter, painting.
Painter. Painter is thrice removed from reality. Tragic poet, same deal. Imitator, thrice removed from the king and from the truth. Poets appeal to lower faculties, senses, philosophers to higher ones, reason.
He's mad because Homer shows gods being petty assholes and bad guys winning. Kids will imitate this crap. It corrupts morals, appeals to irrational emotions. Poetry is allied with vice and illusion.
He offers poetry a chance. Prove you deserve to exist in a good state, and we shall be delighted to receive her. But truth comes first.
It's like saying, I'll take you back if you completely change who you are.
Yeah, good luck with that, Plato. Then Plato shifts to the soul's immortality. Rewards of justice. Book X again. Can injustice kill the soul? Nope, it actually quicken and stimulate the unjust life. Perverse energy boost.
If the soul's own inherent evil can't kill it, nothing external can. Soul is immortal, fixed number of them, true nature seen by reason, contemplating the eternal.
But right now, souls like sea god Glaucus, bruised and maimed by life, covered in shells and stones from earthly crap.
Grim picture. Your eternal soul gets barnacled by living through human existence. Depressing.
Justice, he argues, pays off. It's real and looks good eventually. Just man is friend of the guys. Gets all the good stuff in the end. All things ending good to him.
Among humans, honesty is the best policy, long-term. Clever rogue eventually fails. True runner wins. The supposed benefits of injustice, power, wealth. Plato says the just get those eventually.
Sufferings of the just. Temporary. Sufferings of the unjust. Deserved but better veiled in silence. Cosmic justice prevails. Eventually. Very, very eventually.
And to wrap it all up, the myth of Soldiers' near-death experience, reporting back from the afterlife soul-choosing buffet.
Prophet says even the last soul to pick can get a good life if careful. Don't screw up like the first guy who grabs tyranny and is fated to devour his own children. Yikes. Don't despair if you pick last.
Choices based on past lives, often learning the wrong lessons. Orpheus, killed by women, chooses to be a swan to avoid women next time.
Talk about processing trauma poorly. Peak afterlife incel logic. Thersites the jester becomes a monkey. Makes sense. Ajax picks a lion, still mad about Achilles' armor. Agamemnon picks an eagle, hates humans now.
Odysseus' last pick. Searches hard for a simple private life, finds it hard to find. Telling.
Souls from heaven, no suffering, often chose badly. Souls from earth, suffered, were more cautious. Lots of bad trades made out of ignorance or bad luck.
Lesson. Choose wisely. Use reason. Live diligently. That's the way of happiness. The whole spectacle is sad and lackable and strange. Plato's final dunk on whether humans ever actually learn anything from their fucked up lives. Orpheus the Swan says probably not.
So takeaways from this whole wild ride. Plato's blueprint for a perfect state is rigid classes, noble lies, weird elite communism, philosopher-kings needing decades of training.
His takedowns of other governments and character types, absolutely savage, greedy oligarch, chaotic democrat, the tyrant who's literally 729 times more miserable, he didn't hold back.
His analysis of human nature, insightful, often bleak. The cave allegory nails our love of illusion, our resistance to truth, the endless reason versus desire cage match.
And his critiques are still sharp today. Sophistry, populism, censorship, bye-bye, poets, even admitting his own big ideas sound crazy.
We cut through the dense parts, gave you the juicy, infuriating, sometimes kind of funny nuggets.
Why should you care about this ancient Greek dude? Because he's asking the same damn questions we are. Who gets power? What's fair? Why are people so easily fooled? How do you live a decent life when the world's a mess?
And maybe as a reminder, trying to enlighten people happily staring at shadows, probably going to get you killed. Food for thought.
Final thing to chew on. Plato builds this perfect state, then immediately charts its decay into tyranny, like he knew it was doomed from the start.
He even called his key idea, philosopher-kings, a great wave he was scared to mention. Like he knew it was borderline ridiculous.
Maybe the real point isn't finding perfection, because Plato shows it's designed to fail. Maybe it's just accepting decay is inevitable. And the best you can do is the painful, thankless job of trying to drag yourself, and maybe a few others, blinking into the light, knowing most will hate you for it.
What's that say about human potential? Or maybe human limitations? Bleak.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Plato's Republic.
It was definitely something. Illuminating in a kick you in the gut kind of way.
Until next time, keep processing the data streams.